right. I'm ready to jump into this terrible program. Just kidding. Do some sculpts again. How many days have I been doing this? This is good. I like doing this. People might not like it though. You know, you might not like what I'm doing here. I'm just doing this sort of sculpt talk fucking shit where I just kind of see how far I can improv some conversation and still. So it's like I'm doing two things at once. Terrible. I'm so bad. I go look at art, man. I go look at ArtStation. I try to look at it like every day because they have some really, like, I like looking at it. I like looking at the characters. They have some really cool stuff, and it's cool to stay. You know, it's cool to like look at what people come up with. But I go look at some of that. Oh my god, I just can't like get over it. How I go on there and I'm just like, oh my god, dude, this shit's so amazing. And some of the stuff I put on there is kind of bad. And I know that it, like, I know when there's problems, and I can see when there's problems. Just, oh no, man. Like, it's weird because it, like, when you're bad and you're simple, you can be good. And I'm kind of a comedic person too, so making shitty stuff is kind of like a way of saying, I don't know, man. Will I be validated, or would the community reject me? Or would I just be controversial? Because I don't want to be controversial, like, oh, he's on the side out here, on the sidelines, trying to, you know, defend his honor, defend himself. And it's just some cliche ass bullshit that people see all the time, you know? And it's just like, well, is it really art? You don't make mistakes? Is it? That's the challenge, man. I think maybe I should sculpt on 3. Maybe. I think maybe it might be better to use these sculpts, but yeah. Do these sculpts, but finish the product, finish the material. That's one of my things is clothing. And sometimes I can't get this program to do what I want. And sometimes I'll make something that's good, and then sometimes it's bad. And then it's like, well, fuck. Because I'll fuck up the lighting. Or I'll fuck up, like, I'm usually fucking something up. Like, either the sculpt's off, the material's off, or the lighting's off. Because in the background, you know. And then, you know, some people, they use Photoshop, whatever. You know, they use other programs. But a lot of the time, even if they do that, they still have a good base mesh. So they still have a good base mesh, and it's like, well, so yeah, it's like I'm messing up a lot of things, you know, and you have to have the patience, man. Gosh, it's so hard. But I'm trying to do this every day now, I guess, and it kind of inspires me because I can try to get some subscribers on YouTube, or try and build a little community or something. But you know, I can't really expect anything, but it's kind of inspiring to be like, oh, well, I can build this YouTube channel. Try to build this YouTube channel. So that's kind of inspiring. But other than that, I don't really know if anybody... I think that most people would probably, if they could watch, like, they might be wanting to play video games or something. That shit can get boring though. Video games can get boring. When you game all your life. I've gamed all my life. And I started to realize, man, this is getting boring. Like, if once you do it day in and day out for so long, like, man, like, I don't want to say it's boring, but it kind of gets to that point. And you know, I know that's cool that streamers, you know, streamers that make money, like, that's awesome. But it's kind of like, I don't know, there's kind of a laziness to it. It's like, oh, well, I'm just getting paid off streaming, play video games. And then some people, you know, they really love playing video games that much. But then some people, it's just like, well, do you really like what you're doing? But then it's like, well, maybe they don't have what it takes to get a college degree or whatever. Or maybe, you know, they're just better off just streaming. It's kind of like, well, it's kind of like being in a band. If your band's successful, like, you better just keep going. Just keep going, man. You know? Fucking making a living off it. But that's the thing, though. You know? You look at these bands, right? You look at these fucking bands and you're like, okay, what if you had multiple mouths, you know? I don't know. Just, I feel like a little bit, this is an Egyptian thing right here. You know? If I put his mouth right here. See? So it's like a little goatee thing. But yeah, like, it looks nice, you know? It's crazy to think about. You look at a person, right? And you look at these superstars, man, these people that are just, you know, the people that are like huge stars and stuff, and they make a shit ton of money. And whether that be because they were lucky, or it was a combination of luck and talent, you know, and they just were like a good looking person that people wanted to watch. Because that's what makes people want to watch them, you know, sometimes is they're talented. You know, they have the full package, you know. But there's different levels of it. But, you know, it's pertaining to an audience. Because if all these people over here think this pop star is talented, and, you know, that's a very high opinion, and the masses think, you know, the masses know, like, the masses know who they are, and a lot of the masses like them or don't. But it can kind of be like, okay, well, some people, you know, it's kind of scattered because not everyone likes the same music, not everyone likes the same artist. But there's a, you know, when they're a huge star like that, they have a lot of the population that like them. And, you know, like, a lot of the people, like, some people, it's like, well, everyone in the world knows who they fucking are, you know. So it's like, well, you know, when you think about the stress, though, and you think about what it takes for a person to just get up on that stage, and what it takes for them, you know, essentially it's like, well, you're just riding the wave. But to an extent, it's like, you know, when people are just better. But it's crazy to think about what it takes really to do that. Because if you think about that, you know, some people have anxiety issues and stuff, and they would never do any, like, they couldn't get in front of like 100,000 people, you know. And I'm sure that, you know, there is anxiety with that. And I think, well, I know that you can kind of get trapped in it too, and then it's like a blessing and a curse, you know. So to not have that, it's kind of a blessing and a curse, because it's like, well, you know, I don't have to deal with stalkers or you know, crazy people trying to get autographs and all that. And then you think about that, and then touring, you know, like, you can make a lot of money touring, and, you know, some of them do, but then some of them don't make that much money. But you have to kind of ride that wave to try to build your name up, which, you know, but it can happen spontaneously. You know, you can come out with a good fucking album, and I don't know everything, you know, but you can come out with a good album. And, you know, I think some of the time it's just young people that are able to do it because when you're young, like, you can connect to other young people like that. You know, like, you can write the stuff that you're going through and then people connect to it. But it's weird to think about how lucky you would have to be to be that smart, but to have that mode, like, to function a band, even just to function a band takes so much. You have to work with these people and shit, man. You gotta be fucking, you have to have the level of fucking maturity, dude. Not only that, you have to be talented to succeed in it. And that's the thing, is sometimes you never really know until you try. And sometimes even when you try, you don't get lucky, or you don't, like, things don't go your way. But it's like, it doesn't, I don't know. That's the internet, though, because there's so much shit on the internet, man. And you only see the shit that's being promoted, you know, the shit that, like, once a person gets a following, that's it. You know, they have a base, but, you know, they can be ruined and they can be brought down, and you know, some of their fans can go away and all this, depending on, you know, certain things. I think sometimes, like, for the really rich, the people that get really rich, you get, like, you know, billionaire status or whatever. You know, they have like 50 million or whatever, 100, however much, 250 million in their bank account or whatever, or however they manage it. You know, I don't really know how it would be to manage that much money, but I'm sure you need an accountant. But you know, it's like, does it even really matter at that point? Does it even really matter? Because, you know, you got to think about that. Okay, I have all the money I could ever fucking want. And it's like, oh, well, make more. Yeah, let's make more. Let's, you know, it's kind of like the Dave Chappelle thing, which I know it's interesting to people it's interesting to people that he, you know, walked away from Comedy Central, which I made a video about that, trying to make relevant content. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing about it really, and, you know, of course, people might not respect me because I'm just kind of nobody when I say shit, kind of thing. Kind of have to earn respect, but and even then, you know, even if you know, you it's like you earned it, you know, not everyone's gonna like you. I was talking about that too, like, how are you supposed to force people to like you? How do you supposed, like, force success and stuff, and be so fucking obsessed with it to the point where it's like, well, it just kind of, it's like it falls in on itself because your eye's too focused on the prize. But I think having your eye on the prize maybe is, you know, it's just whatever. It gets too complicated. But, you know, it's like, well, you have all this money, and so this, you know, so Comedy Central or a production studio or a major network or whatever is paying you. So Hollywood movies are paying you. You know, say you're one of those guys who's, you know, one of the go-to stars that, you know, has, you know, a lot of fans and the public's in their favor and all this, you know. And people do make mistakes, and sometimes the perception can kind of twist what someone's doing when every single little move is like, okay, that can end your career. But then it's like, I think it can get to a point where it's like, well, it doesn't even fucking matter. But because it's like, well, why even care to a certain point? And, you know, being a good person, you know, and people do some stupid shit. But and I say some stupid shit on Twitter too, that I know that I feel like I'm partaking in it, though, because there's a lot of it going around, and a lot of it is, like, funny. But it's like, well, I mean, I fucking love comedy. I love making jokes. Like I'm doing voice acting, indie animations. I like making indie animations. You know, basically I produce it myself. You know, and everything. I don't really like asking people for help. But I could see how it could be like, you know, a situation where it's like, well, they're taking up your time, and if you don't like what they're doing, then yeah, I mean, you can't be an artist, you know. And that's the thing is, if you're not able to do what you want and you already have a bunch of fucking money, then, you know, what the fuck? I think that you have to have a certain love for what you're doing to get to that level, though. And it does, like, it does have to be genuine for what you're doing. And I think you do kind of have to see the bigger picture. And it's not really all about personal success. There's a lot of things going on. When you think about value, it can kind of go beyond a dollar sign, really, because people's lives and, you know, caring about each other and real love is more valuable. But, you know, a lot of fucking people are just fucking drug addicts or just crazy, or they have to defend their fucking ego or their fucking opinion or their political stance or whatever the fuck. So then there's a line in the dirt, you know, where you can't admit defeat. You can't admit you're weak. You can't be the person that's, you know, you can't be the person that has mental issues or any of that, you know. And that's where it's sort of, you know, this controversial sort of tidal wave that just keeps on coming down. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I think that, you know, in that kind of perspective, I mean, it can be really stressful for that, but it can be really stressful to be at the bottom of the barrel too, just being just being a normal worker and shit, you know, having a normal job and a normal life and shit. You know? And I mean, that can be, you know, that can be stressful too. So it's not like everyone is, no matter what your situation is, doesn't, you know, matter. Like, you're not gonna be, life is still life. But I'm sure everyone would like to have $100 million in a fucking mansion or whatever. You know, even if they say they wouldn't want it, you know. But really, when it comes down to it, if you really understand it, it's money kind of doesn't really matter in a certain way. I was kind of talking about this in a fucking, but so but yeah, it can be really stressful on either end. And, you know, and that's where, you know, sometimes, you know, people try to fucking hold you to think, like, people, like, if you just joke with someone and sometimes you say things that to them it's really offensive, to them it's really mean, to them they can sit there and spin the fucking wheel on you and say, hey, you did this to me, you said this to me, and it did this to me. And it's like, fuck, man, where does the line come to where it's like, you know, like, you're just some person that's just playing the fucking victim, trying to get fucking sympathy, you know? And, you know, and even it's like even the word fuck, you know, it's profane, it's evil, whatever. It's like, dude, it's just a word. Like, what is the big deal with it? What's the deal? What's the big word? What's the deal with fuck? Why? Is it because it's associated with hate and violence and aggressive behavior? Is that it? I kind of don't want these to be symmetrical, actually. You know what I'm saying? Because you say fuck, you're like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you, kind of thing, you know? And it's just, is it because it's hate, it's hatred in origin, or it's a violent word or something? It's like, it's an abusive word or something. Like, it's just a word, dude. Why do you freak out? why are you so concerned about it? And then it's like, okay, well, you don't want your kids saying fuck, but I don't know, man. That's like a whole nother territory of sort of controversial shit where it's like, well, almost doesn't matter. Like, it's not like it's illegal to say fuck, right? But it can be illegal to like death threat a person to an extent. I know that there was some people get sued for what they, if they death threat a person, they can sue them for like abuse and shit. And I don't know, man. I do know that people can be susceptible to it, and they can be sensitive, but it's not really like they're being sensitive. It's more like, well, they're a fucking human being, and someone said this to them, and this happened, and and then it's like, well, what? Like, I don't know, man. It's kind of, but if you said that to someone else, they're just strong enough to not care. Like, they wouldn't even care about it. But I guess when it gets to that level where like some extremist person is saying this shit online to you or whatever, and they keep going and they're antagonizing you, and you can block people, but they can create new accounts and shit. They can keep it going. So I guess. And then if you think about that, well, the people doing that are fucking mentally ill, obviously. Why else would they be doing that to a person? Why would they be like saying this fucking hateful, fucked up shit to a person? So then you think about the word fuck again, and it's like, well, okay. Well, maybe there's a real reason why people see it as profanity. Maybe there's a reason why it's profanity, So then, because obviously, like, you can't sit here and say, oh yeah, abuse isn't a real thing. Especially physical abuse. obviously that's a real thing that can really fuck people up. So when you look at it all, it's like, well, fuck. And then I think about, why was I even think of it like that? Why do I think of things like that? Am I just a fucked up person? Am I a messed up person? For me to even like say this shit and online. This is pretty cool, but I think that it could be cooler or whatever. It could be more technical. The symmetrical thing kind of gets to me sometimes, because I think there's a balance, because it depends. Like, if you're making a zombie, you might not want it to be symmetrical, because it's going to have a lot of different features. That's fine for this one. I think I'm gonna bring the world down right now. Here. I don't know, man, but I get really pissed off sometimes at shit. And it's a lot of the time it's like I'm just blaming other people, and it's not my fault. It's not anyone's fault. And then it's like, okay, well, you're experiencing mental illness and shit, and I'm not afraid to admit it, but it's I don't know. I don't know. I think that words can be it depends on the person and it depends on the situation, but it's really simple. Just try to respect people, but that's where the jokes, the jokes are just, it just pisses people off, when you make jokes that fuck with their purpose and fuck with what they believe in, and you challenge them or whatever you're doing, and it can just be this thing where it just pisses. It's just as simple as that. It's rude, it offends them, and it pisses them off. It's just as simple as that. And it's like, how long until you just drop it? But if you're trying to be a professional comedian, it's like, well, fuck. But if you're not trying to be like, see, that's where it gets, like, if you're not being a professional comedian, okay, well, what are you? Okay, you're a fucking carpenter, you're a fucking 3D artist. You know, you're trying to get a job at a studio. Okay, that's more relevant. So you're trying to get a job as a 3D artist, but you're working construction, and construction can be really hard work. And I respect people that do construction and hard labor, especially if they do it all their life. It's like, back to you, man. That can be really hard work, physically demanding. The way it is, though. People gotta eat. People gotta work. People gotta live. People fucking, man, those jobs. People building skyscrapers, and you might die on the job. That's crazy. That's a crazy ass story about how people used to work way up on those sky beams up there. Oh my god, that's crazy. People are crazy, man. People will do anything for work, man. They will. I think it's a little bit different now than it used to be, but I don't really know what they do nowadays when they build skyscraper. I guess it really has to have a lot of, when you build something that big, it's gonna cost a lot of money, and it's not like a house. Like, you know, a house you can just rip down easily, but that, it's kind of there to stay, you know. I feel like vacant skyscrapers. Vacant skyscrapers? That's crazy, because I haven't really experienced big cities too much. I don't really know too much about them without living there. But yeah, if you're a 3D artist, right? And you're making these jokes, you're being fucking rude and shit. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, how do you expect a company to hire you like that? Because they aren't gonna want you doing that. It depends, because like, depending on the company, they might not care. They might do that too. They might make jokes. But I mean, I guess there is a certain point where it can be kind of just inhumane, the jokes, and kind of the attitude stuff, because that's what it really is. And then it's like, well, you know, when people just, you know, they just get away with it. You know, they're free to have an attitude. They're free to joke around. And that's one thing that I've been realizing, and it makes me want to delete my Twitter account. Because it's like, well, fuck. You know, a company comes on my Twitter and sees all these jokes and memes and shit, and they're like, we can't hire that guy. But you know, a freelancer, a person might do the same thing. I don't know, man. But then you're the guy online, you're just sitting there like, hey, can I do art for you? And then you think about that for a second too. It's like, okay. Well, I can go on Facebook and make my account private, but then, you know, certain people will be able to see your stuff still. So, you know, and then you become friends with your whatever. And then you think about this for a minute. I wonder how many people have like fake accounts or whatever. You know, and they say, and here's the thing, a fake account, you know, they say, oh, you know, you're not supposed to be making fake accounts. You know, because, okay, so what is a fake account? What are you talking about? Like, a person should be able to make an account and be anonymous if they want to. But it depends on what they're doing. If they're doing like death threatening and shit, that probably might be a different story. But if they're sort of like, you know, like, you know, if you joke around and sometimes you can't be that person in your life, but if you made an account and you were able to just, you know, have fun and kind of do things that don't affect your personal or business life, What's wrong with that? Because if you think about the corporate sort of capitalistic machine that runs everything, I mean, they do watch what you do, and people do get fired for what they say online. And sometimes, you know, it's really not necessary to say any of those things, right? To joke around about, because, you know, sometimes you don't have the sense of humor, and so you wouldn't even care anyway, because it's just the person you are. But what if you wanted to be an actor and do things online that people would consider mischievous or whatever, offensive? What if you wanted to do, like, I mean, because you can act in tweets. And, you know, I don't really think people understand how stupid it's all set up. But, you know, because it's really, their guidelines are just, it's idiotic how they control everything. But they're controlling it for customer experience and all this. But it gets to a point where it's like, you know, I don't know. Like, if you want, because I'm pretty sure they have these regulations, right? You're not supposed to create fake accounts. And obviously people create fake accounts and they try to scam people and whatever. And, you know, they catfish them or whatever the fuck. Which, you know. But I mean, like, if you make a like a parody account, you know, of a famous person, or if you make a like a fake account, or account where you're not gonna reveal who you really are, what's the matter with that? Like Twitch, or, you know, it's like there's a bunch of random names on there and you don't really know who they really are. But the things they say, you know, if their job seeing them saying that stuff, they might fire them or something. But what's wrong with that? Because, like I said, like, the corporate control, like, it controls you in that way where, like, you can't really misrepresent a company. You're representing someone that's, you know, a big company that's trying to be profitable and is functioning in that, you know, functioning to be a company, not functioning. And so if you want to be pertainable to other people, then you can't be like that. And some things, you know, it can be acceptable or not, but to a point, you know, and on a professional level where you're trying to make profits and shit, you have to be providing customer service. So yeah, I mean, and I know that you can get fired on the job for shit you do, you know. But it's kind of like school, you know. You can get detention and all this, or high school or whatever, you know. You can get detention, all this, for jokes and whatever, of being offensive, or, you know, talking out of line or whatever. But it's like, behind the scenes, you are the person you are, you know. So, but it is true. Like, you can't really function like that. Like if you were to say, "Fuck you," like, tell people that come to your YouTube channel, if you were to tell them, "Fuck you, I fucking hate you," you know, and just like say things to them like that, and just like maybe say like hateful things, or, you know, that things are like over the line kind of thing, then how are you supposed to, you know, how the fuck are you expect them to subscribe to you and shit, you know? And so professionally, on a profitability, from a profitability standpoint, you can't really be that person. But see, some people, they're it depends on what they are, because sometimes they can get away with shit. Like, if you're a comedian, you can get away with a lot of shit, but depending on the, like, audience, it's, I don't really know, because I know, like, some of the, like, veteran comedians and some of the people really involved in that stuff kind of know more about it, people that go to stand up and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it can appear like you're saying something else when you're really saying a joke, and they don't get the joke because they're so fucking serious. But it's like, well, you know, things are serious. Like, there's serious things that happen in the world, you know? So it's, you know, it's necessary, you know? Serious shit is going down. But there shouldn't be anything wrong with the person that's trying to be a different person online kind of thing. Like they're role playing, or they're pursuing a dream, or expressing an opinion without them being known. Because that's the thing about it. If they know who you are, and that's another thing too, when you express yourself online, or you're offensive, or like me in this video, you know, people know who you are, it can be dangerous, you know. So I mean, like me, and you know, most of the time I think it can not be a big deal, and no one's gonna do shit, and it's all right. But you never really know what's gonna fucking happen. This is why people that get really big always have bodyguards and shit, you know. It's like, and I guess some of the shit I'm saying probably isn't new to a lot of people, but I'm just saying, you know, like, for them to be like, for Twitter or YouTube or whatever to be like, oh, you're creating a false account, you can't do that. It's just like, well, what the fuck? So then I'm just controlled by you, a corporation, but I'm also controlled by my job, which is a corporation. Now that depends on where you work, though. You know? But it's so true. It's just like it's obviously, and see, it's not their fault that they don't really notice these things, that they don't really think. Because I know that I'm smart and I can notice this shit, but not everyone is going to notice it. And I've had a lot of experience on social media in sort of the features and the terms, and like, and I don't know, man, maybe I'm smarter than other people and they're just not seeing it the way I fucking see it. And the way I see it is right. But you know, everyone wants to think they're fucking right. But it is true. I mean, you know, you can't be the person that you want to be, man. So what the fuck is that? When business conflicts with who you really are, and you can't be who you really are, because then people aren't gonna fucking care for you anymore. You know, they aren't gonna fucking buy your stuff because you were rude, you were offensive, and that's customer service, you know. Or if you like break the law and you do something that's like, okay, we cannot support this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't support this guy, he's a fucking drug addict or something like that. And some people won't support you if you are, because they know that, you know, you're just a cokehead or whatever, and you're just gonna, the more they support you, the more they're, you know. But it's kind of different. It depends on, it's kind of subjective to what the fuck you're talking about, really. But no, it is true. I mean, it is, you know, the people are under control, and it is sort of a, you know, this situation where fucking, like, you don't know what's true anymore. You know, you don't know what's real anymore. What's real, man? When the government is controlled by people that have such a fucking opinionated agenda, and then, you know, corporations do too, because and see, everything that a corporation does, it, you know, like a social media, it has to reflect the public interest. And, you know, I do know that it gets deeper than that, and there's more things to consider. But, you know, depending on what expert you talk to. But I mean, it is true. I mean, like, how is that free at all? If you have so many terms on people that they can't even, you know, they can't even fucking do what they want anymore, because everything they say and everything they do is being controlled by a corporation, and everything that our socializations are now, you know, visible for everyone. So we're not be able to really live. And see, the people do live offline, obviously. You know, they live in the public places. They live at, you know, they wherever the fuck they are with each other. You know, they hang out with each other, and that's, you know, not online. So it's not like it's being put online for everyone to fucking see. So I mean, you could be yourself offline. And you know, a lot of people, they aren't really how they are online. Pretty much fake. You know, but everyone, you know, we're all people, and we all, you know, it's true. It's so true, though, man. And it's just, people take it so seriously, man. You can't say what you want. And how, man, it just doesn't make sense how, if I want to be an actor and everything that, like, if I want to act, do a certain role, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's weird. Like, how are you supposed to be an actor and act however you want and be able to get away with it without being, this is, I was talking this in a lot of videos actually, but it's so true. It doesn't make sense. It's like a contradiction of rights kind of thing. It just doesn't make sense. Like, how are you supposed to be an actor? Because if you're an actor, you might act as some like a terrible person, and if that's what you want to do, and maybe you're just doing it without a professional, like you just want to do it. You don't want. It's not like you're trying to be in some huge Hollywood production. Then how are you supposed to do that without people looking at you and being like, "Oh my God, this guy's terrible. This guy's saying things that can't be said. He's acting like," they're judging you without really thinking about what is actually going on. Like tweet acting, like I was talking about. It just doesn't make sense to me. And it's so stupid because it's like Hollywood controls it. It's crazy. They do. They control it. They try to control it the best they can, but some people that are really talented, they just blow up online, you know. And but still, you know, you have to be in a production to get like a Grammy or an Oscar or whatever, and it just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just get a Grammy for a video you put online. And I don't know how true, like, I guess maybe I don't know everything and I could be saying false information, so I guess don't take my word for it, but I'm just speculating, sort of speculating stuff. But yeah, it's so fucking true. It's so fucking true. And when you do make an animation or a video and you're acting, like, because I've done this where I have an acting skit and I put this online, and it comes from some character, some, like, it might be offensive or rude, but it's like a ridiculous exaggeration, and some people will like it and some people will be like, you know, it's like they think it's real. They think it's a real person, and it's just like, man, this is bullshit. It just doesn't make sense though, man. But yeah, it does. It is kind of like Hollywood's controlling it. You know? Like, if you think about it, because they're controlling all the awards, all the news, You know, all the news revolves around them. Like, it doesn't revolve around people on TikTok. Like, it doesn't really. It's the celebrities are more focused on people that get these roles. So it's like, oh, well, a person that's approving your audition is determining how much publicity you're going to get. And then it becomes a name association. So when you get associations, when you do collaborations with huge names, and you get that. But, you know, I do know that, you know, it doesn't really matter to a point. Like, sometimes a person's just really talented and they get their success and they deserve that. And there's not really any way to put it. Like, you can't sit here and defend something like that. Like you're a victim of Hollywood or some shit. But it can be kind of a situation where, like, you're not like, because some people, they aren't acting, you know, they're not acting, they're fucking real people with real opinions. So I mean, and you know, and when you see a person online, you do assume they're being real. But I mean, how far can that person push a character online before you're like, okay, this isn't like, I can't do this. And then you have an opinion on it, you know. This guy's mean, offensive, rude, disgusting, piece of shit. He hurt my feelings. Then it turns to that. You know, he hurt my feelings. He did this to this person by saying this, and now this happened. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's not funny, but it is like kind of like, oh my god, so stupid. It is stupid. It is fucking dumb. Like, to a point it makes sense how they're regulating things, but to another point it doesn't make sense. Like, how are you supposed to try to regulate YouTube videos from kids, but they can just go to an adult website and just, you know what I'm saying? I guess maybe I shouldn't be talking about this shit, but you know, it's like, how are you supposed to regulate shit for kids, but it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even work, really. Their parents will buy it for them. Their parents will let them play Fortnite. I don't even think it matters, because most of the online shit, you just have to click a button that says, yes, I'm of age. So I think they actually validate with the credit card sometimes, that you're of age. But you know, it's just like, even though you try to restrict kids, it's like, and then it's like, man, I don't really want to talk about this really, but like, how are you supposed to restrict kids from that shit anyway? Like, you know, it's kind of fucked up. Like, I don't know, man. It's I don't really want to talk about it, but it kind of doesn't make sense. Because, you know, the Christian community, obviously a lot of them are against pornography. There's a lot of stuff that, you know, I don't really want to have a stance on it or say it's either which way, because, you know, it can be kind of a thing that people can get really pissed off about, and it's destructive. People's opinions and how far they take it, and how you have to stand your ground on a subject. And you know, but it's like, how are you supposed to prevent a kid? Like, this sounds fucked up from saying it, but like, I don't know, man. So like, kids, they, you know, like, kids go through puberty, they go through stuff, and, you know, yeah, you can't, you know, buy a fucking Playboy magazine or whatever unless you're 18. But the kid, like, they're going to find something, you know what I'm saying? And I guess I didn't really want to talk about it, because it's like, well, it's a natural thing that go through. Like, but yet you have to be 18 to buy it. So I don't know. I get why they have regulations like that, but you know, it's like violent movies or violent video games like Fortnite, whatever. Fortnite's kind of but I mean, even more realistic shooters. I mean, they can get a hold of that shit easy. And most parents, they will let their kids play that, obviously. So it kind of doesn't even make sense in a way. But still, you know, I think it's more of the Christian community that have these values on. They have values with marriage and stuff like that, and their beliefs kind of are kind of more regulating that shit than actually, you know, the other type of person that are sort of. But then it's like, okay, well, I don't even want to talk. I'm not going to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I think I've said too much about it because it kind of gets to those. It kind of gets in that area where I don't really want to have an opinion. But that's kind of yeah, that's kind of political and religious stuff that I'm talking about. I don't really want to talk. And you know, there's a reason why people don't talk about that shit. And I know that. So if you got offended or if you have a stance on that, I'm sorry. If anybody even watches this, it might just sit there with no views anyway, but I don't know. I wasn't really trying to dig into stuff like that, but it's just kind of I don't know, man. Fucking it's like we try to regulate shit, but it doesn't work, you know? I guess I could just there's nothing wrong with me talking about it, but I don't know. I like this character I'm doing right here. Pretty good. I know it can be hard. I've seen people start talking about political shit online and then or shit that's going on like Corona. People get really fucking pissed off and rant. You know. That's when it can I don't know. There's a lot of people that like watching that shit. I think it's funny. Get all pissed off and start ranting. Yeah. I don't know. I think some people are just lying to themselves anyway. They're just some of the things we do are kind of family, like they're family tradition. And so there's a lot of people that are scared to break away from that and believe what they want because they don't want to be held to their family belief system. I do know that's a thing too, which you should not, like, no matter who you are, you should not be forced to believe anything, you know. And it sucks when it can get so strong, you know, with people that won't, like, they'll force things on you and that's all they talk about. That's all they want to talk about because that's what they're interested in. That's their interest, you know. And it's like, fuck, man. That's not cool. How are you supposed to just and then that's like cultic shit. It's like, well, this person is just, you know, they get sucked into it. They're being lied to. You know? Or they're just being corrupted. And that's the thing is when people can't see the corruption they're doing. I think I actually want when they like see people don't realize that they're corrupted because sometimes the corruption looks like it's good, like it's doing good things for people, but it's not. Or it might be, but to an extent it's making things worse because it's forcing things on them. It's forcing them, and then it alienates. It can alienate people, and that's why they search. That's why there are other forms of entertainment and culture out there. And thank God we are free, because if we weren't free, we wouldn't be able to make that kind of entertainment. So things could be a lot worse if we weren't able to make these things. Make whatever we want. Good thing we are free, because that alienates people. I almost feel like me sculpting this shit, right, is me having my own culture. You know? And maybe I do feel alienated. And that can be kind of the point to art, is you're alienated, and you gotta express yourself in a deeper way. You gotta express yourself in a way that's, might not be in line with religious values or political values or social politeness values. And that's the thing is, when you're trying to prevent people from doing that and you're forcing this shit, it's like, dude, it's wrong. It's not right. And people come in and they just think they fucking know everything, and they fucking don't. And for me to sit here and say I know everything, I would be a complete fucking idiot, man. I'm not gonna say I know everything, and that's what I'm saying is, to sit here and act like you have all the answers, or that believing in some sort of religious thing can solve everything. It just does. It's not real. It's not realistic, man. And to have religious based organizations, I don't know. It sucks, because you have to submit your fucking will and your belief, your individuality, to this way of life. And they're the good guys, and if you don't believe them, you're the bad guy. You're hurt, you're troubled. You're going through issues because you aren't in line with that. What kind of fucking crap is that? You don't believe what I believe, then you're fucked up or whatever. The fuck? And then there's the whole thing with pretending like violence, pretending like judging people isn't a necessary part of our culture, because there's a certain point though where if you judge someone, you're just discriminating against them for no reason, and yeah, you're mentally ill. You're not justified at all. And there's a lot of people that would agree that you're just out of fucking line, dude. You're just fucking out of line. But then it gets back to the things I was talking about before. If you're expressing yourself, if you're doing this or that, then that's such a fucking hard thing to really bundle together, because it's like, okay, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of artistic freedom, all this shit. But when it conflicts with something else, then it's wrong, error. And but then it gets to a point to where when you're like actually hurting people, and that's what I'm saying though. That's the thing about it, is it's like, well, physical violence is kind of different than verbal obstructions, verbal attacks, or whatever. And I almost think that you just got to be fucking mature enough to know what the fuck's going on. And so maturity becomes intelligence. Maturity becomes intelligence, How smart are you to realize what's going on? Because if you want to say that maturity is just your, you know, seriousness and your ability to not joke around and have fun and act stupid, that's kind of dumb. Because okay, so you're not you're not mature because you're having fun and you're joking around and acting like a kid or whatever. And it's like, what? Someone wants to act like a kid, let them act like a fucking kid, dude. They want to do that because they think it's funny, let them do it, man. Fuck. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. Because, you know, depression and all that shit, it's a serious thing. And it's like, well, if someone's, well, good for them, you know? Fuck. But, you know, it does get to a point where it's like, okay, that's just straight not right. But then the perspective, you know, again, it gets back to that. It's kind of a really complicated thing to understand. And I think that a lot of corporations, they do make these decisions. I don't know if they're consulting experts a lot of the time, and they got to have a stance of what is what. And obviously, I mean, to a certain point, yeah. You know, there's a reason why we have laws. There's a reasons why, you know, people get fucking thrown in jail and people go to the fucking nut house. People get fucking sued. There's reasons why this shit happens. And it is a very serious world. And, you know, maybe you are immature if you're just not, you're just behaving and shit. Should have listened to Austin Powers. I'll behave. But no, seriously, not fun. Good point. I'll tell you that much. Shit goes down, shit gets serious. But I don't know. Some people just don't want to fucking. They don't want to live in that. They don't want to live that life. You know, they don't want to live in that world. They want to fucking be happy, and joke around, and have fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But to a point, it's like, well, if that's all you're doing, then you're doing nothing to help people. So you're a terrible person then. See? Because you're doing nothing. These teeth, I think I want to change them a little. I don't really care. I'm just going to leave it. Like, make these bigger. I'm just going to leave it. Because I'm trying to do speed sculpts here. But no, it's true. It can be kind of a complicated subject. And then, you know, it's, you know, and giving people, like, that's where it comes to trusting people and who you're associating with. What you're believing. The extremes that you go to socially, in your head, your thoughts. I hate to say it, but not everyone is fucking smart. Not everyone has it together, even though they think they do. You know? But, I mean, you gotta hold on to that culture, you know? Sometimes, you know, the culture is what helps you live. Culture, you know, no matter what culture it is. That's why it's like, well, I don't want to try and break anyone's culture down, but it can be very conflictual, controversial, and then it turns into a big deal. So that's sort of the all of it in a nutshell, really. I kind of don't want to do creases, really. I feel like I'm not doing the right. But yeah, it can take time to understand that, you know? It can take time to learn that. But no, it's true. This is why I should just I don't know, man. I make animations and I am like a funny person. So it's like, well, I could be a professional, but uh like I was saying about me, you know, getting promoted and the sort of the complexity of having talent and your ability to get exposed. I think sometimes you either get exposed or you get exploited. What I mean is you get the exposure you need, or the exposure exploits you for not being talented as you thought you were. But then sometimes it's like, well, you just got the wrong exposure. And so it's like, oh, well, I give up, but I got the wrong exposure. Because like this is a sculpting video and I could make a time lapse. I know there's reasons why people make time lapse. But I'm just doing like a sculpt little chill talk, which I think maybe it's better to do a talk over a time lapse. That's what a lot of it's like kind of a popular thing. But I think this is my last one. I think I did a good job today. Just trying to. Yesterday was really weird, so I'm just you know, I'm just going with the flow here. I love this crease tool. Jesus Christ, right? What about him? He looks cool. I love this guy. But no, I mean, you know, the protests and stuff, it's like, to a certain point, I think, you know, I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to have an opinion on it because you can piss some people off really easy by having a fucking controversial opinion. That's why a lot of people stay out of it, especially if you're a professional. Probably better, you know, because I know that it can be easy to be made out to be, when you say something, people can take it kind of the wrong way, and so, you know, they can label you a fascist or racist, and that's what happens. But it can be really a crazy thing. Then it's almost like people on each end of the perspective are just trolling because they like there's a huge amount of people that are just, they're making the other people out to be the worst possible thing they can. But then I don't know, man. It's fuck. Yeah. So I like the band Slipknot, right? And I've been a fan since I was a kid. Love them. I actually have a tattoo of Paul Gray, the bassist who passed away. Their bassist who so Corey Taylor, you know, you don't know who he is. I guess he's getting a promotion in the video. No, but he so I don't know if he still has it pinned, but it's the only evil of men, or something about good people doing nothing, the quote. And you know, with the protests and stuff, I think it's true, you know, like if you do nothing, you just let it go. Now it's, you're letting it happen, but the government, I don't know, man, that gets so complicated. Cop violence stuff. But I know that, you know, some cops are, I think some cops can develop kind of some really shitty perspectives because they're having to do all that dirty work and shit. And so police brutality, I don't know, man. Sometimes I think they're just doing their job, and sometimes they're being stupid. I mean, they gotta wrestle people to the ground, they gotta risk their lives and shit. And on each side, whether you're the person, the victim, police brutality, or if you're the cop that's having to use violence to keep people safe, you know, it can kind of be this thing where some cops, I don't know, man. Like some cops are stupid and they don't know what they're doing, I guess. Whoa, why am I stuck in here? I can't zoom out. Fuck. I don't know. I don't really want to have an opinion though. Oh, fuck, man. I can't zoom out on this. What's going on? Jesus Christ. Jeez. I just try to keep it chill. Some things are probably better not left unsaid. But I do know in some certain circumstances, yeah. You know, the person was acting on racism and they were, you know. So, I mean, because sometimes it's what's going on and sometimes it's not, you know. And sometimes, you know, because, you know, you think that criminals that, you know, sometimes they have a motive from a different world, from a different perspective, trying to fucking survive and shit. And, you know, and then on the other hand, you know, it's just, you know, it's fucking, ugh. So sometimes, you know, cops do stupid shit just like criminals do, you know? And some of them are bad seeds. You never really know what they're really up to. Because they can, you know, people can, you think about how many people get caught, but people get away with a lot. Like, I'm not sure what the ratio is of solved versus unsolved cases and things that just people get away with, reported crimes or unreported crimes, because sometimes I think things can go unreported, especially when you get in the whole snitch stuff where, you know, people don't snitch because it's the way they're in a different world. They're not living in the suburb, or, you know, they're not middle, you know, it's a different world. That's what I'm saying though. And then, so, but, you know, then it's like, well, sometimes cops are justified and sometimes they're not, and the system is there to determine that. And it sucks that shit like that goes down, but, you know, it happens. And, you know, cops can be very fucking dumb. Like, they can they can be pretty fucking crazy. And I think that some of them are mentally ill because of what they do. They can do things that, I don't know. It's like they can really turn into kind of it can be a really extreme situation when the job is really intense. It's really an intense fucking thing to do. Well, I watched that fucking, I'm almost done here, but I watched that movie with Nicolas Cage. The fuck is it? The one where he's selling guns and shit. Oh, got a Lord of War. Lord of War is a Lord of War. I think it is. But, you know, like at the end of the movie, it's just crazy to. It's like a provocative thing where it's like, you know, it kind of takes a look at sort of different worlds and different positions that people are in, and, or, you know, different people on different sides of the fence. Because you can be on the law side or you can be on the US side. You know, you can be in a different, such a different situation that morality becomes not just so simple as, oh, you know, this is right and this is wrong. But it's just a movie, I guess. I don't really know what's the best material to show these off with. Or, you know, they suck, man. Don't show them off. You can't show them off. You suck. I think that's okay. Probably want a gradient in the background, but I need to do a JPEG. Alright, well, that's the end of this. Thanks for watching. Maybe no one will watch it, so whatever. Have a good one. Maybe I think I might quit doing these. If I get no response, maybe I'll do time-lapse talks if I want, but it's inspiring me, so have a good one.